Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing, and if you're an old subscriber, thank you for stopping by again. So today we're making this beautiful pants. Stay tuned as you learn. So here are the materials you'll be needing: your scissors, your tape rule, your chalk, and your fabric. So now we'll just draft on our material directly. So here I was just cutting a straight line so that the measurements can be accurate, because where I got the material from, they just cut a very long and funny shape. So here now I was cutting the length of the pant, which I used 42 inches. That's my measurement, and extra 2 inches. The 2 inches represent half inch for joining the band, and then 1.5 inch for turning the pants in at the lower part of the pant. So after that, we go from where we join the straight line. We measure 8.5 inches for our hip measurements, and then from there to the crust, I measured 11 inches, and then just join the dots. And after that, I take my tape rule and measure 2.5 inches from the outer part of the fabric. I measure 2.5 inches all through from the waist to the crust. Then I connect them together. Then I try to make a curve from the hip to the crust. So after you've done that, that's so how you get your crust measurements. You actually, I hear a lot of people say you need measurements. You take a measurement from your waist while you're sitting down. I don't think I actually go with that idea, because if you're sitting while taking the measurements from your waist to the end of the chair, especially we that have big stomach, because I actually have big stomach, your stomach is going to fold while you're sitting down, and you're not going to be able to take the measurements. So if you're taking it that way and you're sitting down with the pants, it's not going to be very comfortable, because there's not going to be room for your tummy to stay in. So I'd advise, if you're taking your crust measurements, you stand and take it from your waist to the center of your butt, and from your butt to your waist back, so you could know your accurate measurements. And if you're taking for a client, and you could actually ask them to actually take it by themselves if they're not comfortable with you taking it for them. So from there, we measured our hip measurements and our waist measurements. I added half inch to the measurements because I want the pants to be big, so that will be extra 2 inches for my pants, because I don't want it to be tight. And then from the hip, we take a measurement straight down to the length of the pants. So that's what I was doing here. Just connecting the hip, then connecting the straight line down. So after you've done that, you go to the lower center of your pants and you take away 2 inches. Then you measure 2 inches from the lower side and you make it a straight line, at least 2.5 inches. Yes, why I did that is because when I'm turning it in, if it's not straight, I'm going to be having some folds while I'm hemming the lower part of the pants. So I don't want that to happen. So that's why I added like 3 inches, made it straight. So when I'm turning with 1.5, I'm not going to have issues with it. So after you've done that, you're done with the front pattern of your pants and you cut it out. So after that, after cutting it out, you take your front pattern and look for a very convenient piece that has at least 2 inches at the side of the pants for the back. So then you measure 2.5 inches away from the waist upper part of the pants. I forget what I was saying. You take away 2.5 inches. Here I just took away 1.5 because the person is small. But then you take away 2.5 inches and then you try to connect it from there. Try to make it curve. And then you take away 2.5 inch. Here you just cut the first side. And after you're done cutting, you move the fabric by 2.5 inches. So there'll be room for 2.5 inches inside at the center of the pant. From the front measurement, you have 2.5 inches. And then you cut that out as well. Well, I cut out 2 inches from the pant at the lower part is so that the pant will not be just too big and not have fitting. It just looks like a very big pant. So then I moved it, what I was saying about the 2.5 inch. So there'll be room at the back of the trousers to fit in your butt. So then after you've done that, you take away 1/4 inch from the center waist so that your band can sit nicely, perfectly. Yeah. And then cut it out. All you have to do is cut it. So when you're done, here I was just trying to cut my pocket. So I'm using 12 by 7 inches, but you can use 12 by 8 or 8.5, depending on how wide you want your pocket to be. I didn't want the pocket to be too wide, so I used 12 by 7 inches. And the 7 inches is together with the sewing seam allowance. So if you want it to be wider than that, you could just make it 8 or 8.5. So you have more room in your pocket for plenty. Yeah. So then you just mark the point and cut. So after you're done cutting, I use the folded part for the lower part of the pocket. If you had to cut open everything, you have to join the lower part first. So here I was trying to cut the pocket to fit the front, to fit the sides of the pant. So, and I'm joining it, very easy to join. So you cut it. And then when you're done, you just take two of the pockets, and then that's where the opening is going to be. You're going to open it up. So here we're measuring it by 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches by 6.5. Do 2 inches. By 6.5. But if you know you have a bigger palm, you can make it 7 inches. I have a small palm, so I made it 6.5 inches. So that's our pockets. And then we cut our band. Luckily for me, the band was already the accurate measurement, so I just needed to fold and cut. But I cut the band by 30 inches by 2. I was supposed to make it 31 inches, but the fabric was already enough, so I'll just make the zipper allowance 1/2 inch instead of 1 inch at the back. So that was where it was going to affect it. But depending on your waist measurement, you you add 2 extra inches for your zipper allowance, because it's going to be zip at the back or at the side. I wouldn't advise for this type of pants for you to make it in front, because I didn't make the flap kind of zip here. So advisably, you put the band at zip at the side or at the back of your pants. So here we're done, just trimming to make it the accurate measurement. Then we'll take it to our ironing table and we iron our ST. I always double my ST. Normally you're supposed to use the stable. It's always too hard for me when I'm sitting down. It's very uncomfortable, so I just stay with doubling the hair stay. So after trimming it, I just go. Then here I already done ironing, just trimming out the excess ST on the band. So put that aside. Now we're going to join our pocket. So then we join the side, and now we're joining the pocket to the front part of the pants. So here you make sure your joinings are very neat. Yeah. And then you join it by 1/2 inch. Here we're notching it so it could sit firmly, because you know it has a cuff structure, and if you just iron it like that, it's not going to be neat. But you could also just iron it, but then you have to iron with your what do they call this thing they use to iron the bust area? But then you still need to notch it though, so it doesn't have this funny whatever. But then you pin your pockets down so they don't move, run up and down. Here I was just trying to, since the fabric was very fun, it has some gum patterns on it, so iron was not doing the right thing, so I just used the ruler to press it down, since there's ST inside, so it was just following the vibe. Yeah. So nextly, we're going to join the center of our pants by 1/2 inch. Then we're back. We make sure we open our pants, join the centers together. So now this is the center of the pants. Here we're marking our 1 inch for the zipper allowance. You mark it till you almost get to the curve where you can now start measuring by 1/2 inch. And then from the center front, you're going to measure 1/2 inch to join the back before you now add your zipper allowance. So here we're measuring for the dart, which I used 4x5, taking away the band measurement. So I took it by the dart by 1 inch, because you have to take away that 2.5 inches at the waist side. When you're measuring, you have to take it away from the clothes. If not, the back is going to be very big and it's going to affect the measurement of your pants. Your band is not going to be firm, so you have to find a way to take it away. So creating your dart, that will also make the butt, like, give that beautiful look, if you get what I'm saying. It'll make the butts come out very well. Even if you don't have butt like me, it will just give you that illusion. So here now we're trying to measure our pants. We've already joined it by 1 inch at the sides. So here, just trimming the excesses away. We've hemmed the lower part by 1.5, turned it in by 1.5 inch. So here I was just measuring if the pants was the measurement I needed it to be. Apparently it was 41 inches at the end of the day. My hip measurement is 39 inches, and I added 2 extra inches, remember. So then here it was already just 41 inches. And then I measured the waist to check if it was also the same measurement that I needed. And it was. So here we're just trying to fix our band. Remember, my own band is 1/2 inch by the zipper allowance of the pants, which is 1 inch. So I'm going to take away 1/2 inch while I'm trying to join the band together. So then we'll join the band, and make sure when you're sewing, every allowances that is in the clothes faces the back. Don't bring them to the front. Maybe you're sewing the joining and you now bring it to the front. Take everything to the back. Yeah. And so here we're just going to go to the machine, join from the inside, the straight parts, and then we're done. We come back and place the folded parts down. Here we're already almost done, just remaining the zip. I made the zip off camera. So here's our beautiful pants. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe. Thank you. Bye.